Hey everybody, the Bad Pennies are back again. I'm Sho and this is my friend Alan. And today, guys, get ready because
we're going to do a subject that is maybe probably a little sore and most likely will get us, comments like we do whenever we do subjects like this. We tend to get the most amount of comments.
Right. So today's title is When She Wants a Fight.
Yeah, when your woman wants to fight, all right, and how to handle it. And I don't know whether there's a magic bullet on this one, but there are a number of things that you can do. But how to handle it when your woman wants to argue. And I'm just gonna put it out there right from the beginning that it's a bad idea to argue. If you're married, and we're going to just stick with married right now.
Okay.
All right. And maybe the techniques will cross over into, single relationships.
It's possible.
Right. But we'll just stick with married. And the process of being married can go a couple of different directions. And one is that it can go kind of slowly degrade and go down the tubes. Right? Where you just, you think because you're different that you're not compatible. And that's actually not true. In fact, it is the differences that contributes to our compatibility. And people make the mistake of focusing on the differences. Oh, I've grown, I've changed, I've gone another way, and all of these things. And think that is actually the reason to not stay married or not have a good relationship, right? You're not the same woman that I married, or you're not the same man that I married, but the thing is, the reality is that we all grow, and that was what you set out to do from the beginning, was grow through life together. And more likely the woman grows and the man pretty much is kind of who he was in the beginning, and that's not a bad thing either, because for you married women, at least you know how to deal with it, right? You know what you got, and it hasn't changed. Grow all you want, but it's still not the reason to not have a good relationship, and to turn your back on the bond that you created with each other. And the bond isn't like an instantaneous thing, right? You get married, and and you have all of those experiences and the honeymoon, and then whatever comes after, maybe some years where you're kind of building some stuff and trying to figure out a direction you want to go. Maybe you start a family, and then the work really starts, because once the kids come along, the whole focus is on the kids, and the focus goes away from the relationship, and that's a mistake. All right, that's a mistake, because, and look, you're not going to have the time to put all of your energy on the relationship, because you've got kids and they're a priority, and you got to take care of them, and you take care of them together, and some things just have to not get dealt with, but keeping the commitment and the bond with each other is very important.
Okay.
All right, and for a number of reasons, including, as I said before about marriage, is that how your relationship is, let's just put it this way: the quality of your relationship. The quality of your relationship is an example to your children to what they want to have when they are in a long-term committed relationship years later, and they will pattern it off of you. Either what they, if you have a really good, strong marriage, they'll want that, and they'll look for the kind of man or woman that will that they'll be able to have that with, and they'll even pattern that off of you, right?
Okay.
Boys will look for a woman that has the same or similar great qualities that his mom has, because of the quality of relationship that she had with his father. A woman will grow up looking for a man that will be honorable and stable and have the qualities that made her feel safe growing up as a girl that her father had, and also that can provide her the kind of security and relationship that she saw in the her parents, right? Because one of the best ways to raise children is to have a good relationship in the marriage. So you can't just totally lose focus. And it's easy to do because, you got soccer and you got this and you got to get them to school and back and you got to feed them and take care of them and clothe them and all of the things and get them to all of their little activities that they have to do as they grow up. And unfortunately, again, the marriage starts to suffer, and that's a mistake. So you got to figure out how, in between all of that, to negotiate all of that you can do the things that keep it connected, to keep it tight, in a way that you're on the same page. Mm-hmm. And even parenting, for you men, basically just listen to your wife. I know men we're talking about when she wants to pick, when she wants to argue with you, but when she tells you, what needs to happen with the kids, don't argue. That's a silly place to go, unless it's really violating something that'll hurt them, right? But mothers don't want their children to get hurt, so they always have the best for their children in mind, always. So, and they're also smarter than us. I've already said that, so you can thumbs up or thumbs down on that comment. But in the end, women are pretty much superior to men in almost all ways. We've said this over and over and over again, and you women are back there going like, yes, and you men are back there going like, what? Well, it's true, and really, if you think about it, you already knew it was true all along. The difference is we exert our egos and our physical strength over them, and think that that's enough to control them, so we get what we think we want. But we're not going to. That's another fucking podcast right there. Did I say the F word right there? That's another podcast. I don't know. Do we have ratings on these things?
I'm pretty sure it's better to not say it.
Probably not. Yeah, because then a lot of people will go like, he said the F word. So,
I remember I can.
You can bloop it out. You can bloop it out. So we're almost like the Tonight Show now. So when she wants to argue, okay, so there you are. You're in a marriage. You've done, you've been together for a while, and you find her wanting to argue or with you around something, whatever. And what happens to you when she argues? Does it upset you?
There's a part of me that wants to fire back.
Yeah.
A lot of times
you want to get into the battle, right?
Well, if I can tell my wife is trying to push my buttons, if I can identify it before I respond, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't identify it right away because she managed to push the button and it snapped, and then I immediately jump in. But there's also times where I'm like, oh, she's trying to push my buttons.
Yeah, but do you know why she's trying to push your buttons?
No, a lot of times I don't really know why. I mean, who knows? I mean, I thought everything was good, and then all of a sudden,
it isn't, right?
Yeah. So
it was great this morning. It's not great this afternoon.
There's something
then
like that.
it's great tonight, but it's not great tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then it's great. Okay. So there's no way to predict that, but ultimately, and remember that because women are so amazing in their in the way that they negotiate the world through an emotional experience, right? Because the world for women mostly is an emotional experience, and they have great command and facility with their emotions. And to do the kind of work that we do, we try to keep it simple and keep our emotions out of it. And so it just seems, it seems very different and unpredictable, which it is, right? For us men, they may seem very, very different and unpredictable. But she's almost always looking to make sure that you're not going to fail her, that you're going to hold up your end, and that you're not going to cave, and you're not going to abandon her, That's a fear that they have.
So are you saying that she's starting a fight to test to see my loyalty?
Most of the time, yeah. Even if she's not aware of it, something will come up. But the test ultimately is to see if you're there, if you're in it with her, right? And engaging in that battle with her is only going to lead to more trouble, because there's no end to it. There's no winning, and it's even if you won the argument, you lose the war, so to speak, right? Because it didn't deepen the bond of the relationship, right? It didn't bring you closer together. So ultimately, and isn't that the whole point? I mean, think about it. Isn't that the point, that you want to throughout your life? I mean, you took these vows together at the beginning, and everything was wonderful and great. And, I love you, and you're the woman for me, and I want to go through my life with you and raise children and have all these like lifelong experiences as partners together. So if that's true, all right, and I think it is, if that's true, then isn't the process about constantly doing things that make that bond stronger, that bring you closer together, not further apart, regardless of your interests? Remember that men and women have completely different interests. Men that think that if you want a woman that likes all the same stuff you do, then you should marry a man. There's a whole bunch of more of the dislike things. There we go. And tell us why. So, but really, and seriously, and I wasn't that unserious in that comment, but because we're so different that if you really want someone who's just like you, then you're looking in the wrong direction when it comes to women, because they're not like us at all. And they may make you think that they're like you for a while, but they won't be able to keep that up for very long, because they're just not. And when there's no more reason for them to do that, like after you get married, she's just going to be who she really is. And there's no reason for her to be any different than who she really is at that point, right? As a wife, as a mother, as a partner. And so the whole process is about bringing out the best in each other.
So why fight?
There's no reason to fight. And why fight? Why does she want to fight, or why have a fight at all?
Yeah, well, why does she want to fight, first of all? Well, again, she wants to fight to try to test the loyalty.
It's not just your loyalty. It's to see if you're still the man that she married. And so look, I we'll use some real life examples, right? We just won't use any names.
Okay.
All right. So there's a couple that I'm thinking about right now, and she has been argumentative their entire marriage, and they've been married for more than 35 years.
Okay.
And he really, for the most part, didn't engage with her. But after about 35 years, he started to complain about the fact that that's how she is with him all the time, right? And so I listened to this thing, and I just said to him, I said, well, that's just how she deals with the marriage. That's how she manages you. That's how she, that's the technique that she has taken on, and probably her mother was like it and did the same thing with her father. And I asked him, I said, so were her parents married for a long time? Oh yeah, they were married for like over 50 years or whatever. And so did she argue and nag and do all of those kinds of things that you're like complaining to me about? And he's like, yeah, actually, it seems that she did. And I said, right. So that's why your wife got the technique. So why are you taking it personal? Because you chose to marry her. Can you not find ways to love her? Because it seems to me that every time she does that, what she's actually saying is that I love you. And you can't see it because you're determining it as if one of your men was arguing with you. Because that's not what a man is usually saying. You're trying to jostle for position. when you're arguing with another man. And but with your wife, that's not what you're trying to do. It's not a battle that you have, or a competition. And the mistake is when you start competing in the marriage all the time. That's another difficult and problem-ridden direction to go, is when you're always competing together. It breaks the bond apart. It doesn't bring it together. Competition does not cause women and men to get closer. It causes men to get closer. When we compete, we actually get closer together, especially with the men you're competing, on the same team, right?
Okay.
You get closer to your men when you're in that competition, and sometimes you even get close to the men you're competing, that are on the other team.
Because you respect them.
Because you respect them, and you respect what their abilities are and how how they showed up in battle.
Okay.
Right. So, but that's not going to happen in a marriage. If you compete in a marriage, it actually respect is lost, not gained.
Okay.
If you're going to argue with her, if she's starting to be argumentative, and then you go down that road with her, she also loses respect. Mm-hmm. Because in many ways you're competing with her at that point too. Mm-hmm. You're competing with her in the argument, and it's not good for her. It's not good for the marriage. It doesn't mean you don't have differences of opinions, and I'm not saying that you don't get to express things, right? You do. And it doesn't even mean that you don't get to express things that bug you about each other, right?
Okay.
And by expressing them without getting into an argument or taking it personal, and then seeing, like when she expresses things that bother her, and you listen, and then down the road she sees that you've kind of done a little bit about it, as long as it wasn't something that was about changing who you are, but things just, that it's no big deal, right? There are things about ourselves that we can't change, and there are things that we don't really care about. And the ratio, I think, is about 10% things we care about that we can't change, and about 90% of everything else, right? But your ego tells you that it's all important, and that's another reason that your ego can't be in that relationship. Because it's all, again, about competition. It goes back to competition. So she wants to argue. I find, again, going back to this couple this man that was complaining to me, I said, as I said before, that she is expressing her love for you, because if she didn't care, she wouldn't argue, or she wouldn't say the things she did, right? She would just give up. She'd leave, or just not say anything because she doesn't think you're worth it.
Do you ever come to the situations where the woman is arguing about something because she's actually mad at something completely different?
Maybe. Who knows?
Like she's starting to fight about one thing just because she wants to fight, even though the thing that's really bothering her has nothing to do with that fight.
That's possible. But again, we're not psychologists, so right. That's kind of going down the psychology road. And will that help you be who you need to be in that moment? I think that a good place to go, if she wants to argue, is to start to see her in that light that you saw her in when you wanted to marry her.
Right.
Put her in that light. Put her, no matter what she's saying, it doesn't matter. Listen, they'll say all kinds of things. Who cares? We're men, right? Like we've gone through our life. People said all kinds of things about us. Who cares, right? All that really matters is that who you are, and that you've done you're leading a good life. You've led a good life. You've been honorable. You've been true to yourself. And the only person in the entire world that really cares about that is you. Right, so it doesn't matter what other people say, and that's a problem, because there's a lot of men in jail who are there because they got upset because somebody said something they didn't like.
Okay.
Well, that's I think a pretty stupid reason to end up in jail, right? Now, it wasn't what the person said; it was how the man reacted to what the person said that got him in jail. But who cares what somebody says, right? It's not you talking to me. You're talking to me, right? So
So
it doesn't matter. And it's the same thing with your woman. Whatever she says, it's not. You don't want to discount it as unimportant, but you definitely don't want to take it personally. You can listen. You can still listen. Just don't, go down that road with her, because she's trying to express something. And like you said earlier, it may or may not have to have anything to do with what she's expressing at the moment, right? It might be something really big behind that went down earlier. Something with the kids, something with family, something with work or whatever.
Right.
There's something behind it, and it just triggered something. But again, that why she's got to that place is not as important as how you are when she gets there.
So, what are some techniques or tactics that a man can use when a woman does want to fight?
Okay. I used to just smile. Now, initially, that would kind of piss her off more for a minute, and she would, start to get angrier. It's like, why are you smiling? And I was like, because I love you. When you get mad, I love you even more.
I like your face when it starts to scrunch up.
Yes. Because I know that you care.
Okay.
And she would start laughing, man.
So you would say distract her.
Well, I don't know whether it distracts them or not. They can be pretty focused, but if she was trying to get you to come over to the fight side, it diffused it.
Okay.
It diffused it, and look, you know your wife better than either one of us, and so you're gonna have to figure out what are the things that diffuse it for her. And look, if she starts pointing that argument at you, and it gets to the point where there's a line, where you know that you're not going to be able to stand there and not engage, then you need to find out how to graciously excuse yourself. And I say graciously excuse yourself. Do not be argumentative. Do not be mean. And
at the same time, don't just walk out.
Don't just turn your back on her and walk out. Oh my God, that's they go crazy when you do that.
Right.
So
but give yourself some physical space.
Yes, just say, look, you know what? I have a call with my boss in 5 minutes, and I need to get mentally, prepared for that.
Yeah.
Or Joe's calling because he's got a problem with something, and I told him that I'd help him. Can we come back to this later?
But I mean, if the argument's at 11 o'clock at night, then usually something like, I got to go to the bathroom.
Well, yeah, just some way of getting yourself out of the space.
Physical distance.
Give her a chance to cool down a little bit.
Yeah.
And when you come back, be good to her.
Okay.
When you come back, be good to her. Always be good to her, but especially if you've had to excuse yourself out of the argument.
Yeah.
Then you need to come back. I mean, if you leave the house, bring her a flower when you come back. Do
or
something.
A candy bar.
What yeah, exactly. What works for your wife, right? So whatever it is that that works with her, that she appreciates, and let her know that, even because one of the things that does is that if you've had to excuse yourself out of the situation, she thinks you've just cut off everything. It's like you're not thinking about her. You just walked away. There's all kinds of things that will go through her mind about it. And what you get to do when you come back is let her know that you were thinking about her the whole time, right? That she isn't forgotten. And again, when we say being a good husband, is that you're always doing those things that help contribute to the bond getting tighter and closer and deeper, rather than breaking it. breaking it, and getting into a battle with your wife.
Yeah.
Is opposes your wedding vows.
Yeah. One thing I would like to say about, you know, when it seems like the direction is heading toward a fight, it's very important to remind yourself that this is the woman that you committed to be with forever.
Yeah.
So it can't get to a point where you say some things that you're going to regret. You have to be able to just absorb whatever it is that she wants to say, because you're letting her vent a lot of times, or get her communication however she gets it out. But you can't take it personally.
No.
You can't take whatever she's saying and like put it on your nerves and put it in your skin and put it in you know.
Woman, you get on my nerves.
Yeah, you can't do that.
One of these days, Alice.
Yeah. Let her have what she wants to have, and even if you need to just like give her the response that you can't give her the response that she's looking for. Right. You have to give her a response.
So, but you can remind yourself some things.
Yeah.
Right. Remind yourself. First place, this is the woman you chose to live the rest of your life. This is the woman you
chose to live the rest of your life.
You chose her. Yeah. She chose you too. That you're committed.
100% committed.
And in most of these, or many of these situations, she's the mother of your children.
Yeah, and there's still a respect that needs to be involved also.
Incredible. In fact, you can't ever not treat her with respect.
Yeah.
Ever. Not even for one moment.
Right.
Not even in thought, you know. And look, I say that, and it's funny, but at the same time, it's not, because if you're thinking it, they probably know it.
Yeah.
I don't know how. Mm-hmm. All right. I don't know. Haven't you had things that your wife knew, and you never said it? All you did was think it, and she just knew it, and it's like, oh my God, how did she? How do they do that? Well, I don't know, but they do it, and just know that you can't fake marriage. You can't fake love. You can't fake commitment. You're either committed. You either love her. You're either in it or you're not. And when you leave it here, it's maybe not as bad as if you left it physically, right? But you're still leaving. Yeah. You're still taking a vacation. Yeah. And so don't take vacations. And for you women who, if you're listening, know that it's also not particularly good for you to be engaging in an argument with your husband. Figure out a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Figure out, because the gamble is too great, right? You're dealing with a man who has an ego, and there's always the gamble that you're going to hit that ego in the wrong way, and he's going to react in ways that are not good for the relationship.
Yeah.
And whether he wants to or not. And why would you gamble with that?
Right.
So maybe there's a way that you, in fact, I know there is, because you all are smarter than us. You can probably think of 100 ways that you could get your point across, or get expressed what you need to express. And in the process, you men, listen. Listen to them. Don't argue. Don't judge. That's another thing that happens. Men start getting judgmental about, their wives and how they're being. Like that one man. Oh, let me finish the story. We can. This will finish the deal up. So,
okay.
So we talked about it. So he complained and complained, and I said, look, don't you realize that she's still telling you that she loves you? This is how she is in the marriage. This is the woman you picked, and can't you just change your context and to a place of seeing that she's actually expressing her care, because if she didn't, she wouldn't do that. And he said, okay. So he went back. So I didn't talk to him for quite a long time. And it could have been a year, 6 months to a year, whatever, before I saw him again. And so I saw him again, and he said, I got to tell you this story. I said, really? Tell me. So, because we had remembered the conversation we had had.
Okay.
And so he goes, I got to tell you. I said, okay. So he goes, look, so my wife has, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, has this bridge game with the women. It's a all ladies thing. And she sets up her house, and they have tables, and they got multiple tables, and all the ladies come over. And for the last umpteen years that she's been doing this, I am under no circumstances am I to be in the house. with all the ladies there. And he said, it's fine because I don't want to be there anyway, right? So I go out and I go golfing or do whatever I have going on, and so I'm just never there. And I know what time to come back, and the ladies are mostly left or leaving or whatever. And I help my wife set the living room back up, put things away. And I said, great. So he goes, so what happened was I left my wallet. I'd left the house before the ladies started getting there. And I got to where I was going, and I went to get my wallet and realized I'd left it on my dresser. So I went back, but I didn't want them to know that I was there. So I snuck in around. And when I snuck in, my wife was talking, and I could hear her over all the other women. And she was telling them what an incredible husband she has. And she was just saying things to them that she had never in their entire marriage said to him directly. And I'm like, well, there you go. There you go. One of the great benefits for her, for you to be a good husband, is that she gets to tell her women about it, and she gets to brag about it, about what a good man you are.
That was such a 180 from where I thought it was.
Yeah, you didn't think it was going to go that way. I bet you didn't either out there, huh? So she did love her husband, and this was just a way that she expressed it, which wasn't, a way that the man had determined in his mind how a woman is supposed to express her love for a man. But all women express their loves in many, many different ways, and sometimes it doesn't look like the traditional, TV movie way that we're inundated with, right?
Right.
It actually looks like how it looks in real life, and that's a problem too. But we can do that on another podcast, right? The difference between real life and
fantasy,
TV, movie, fantasy life.
All right. Hope that helped everybody.
I hope so. And again, don't forget to leave a comment.
Yeah. All right. And just like Bad Pennies, we will be back.
Yes, we will. See ya. Also, what was the one that we had that we got so many comments on? Was it about being a good husband?
It was in the mental health.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Being a good husband.
We had one about being a good husband.
Yeah,
and then we had another
so
about
look,
mental health.
so I just want to say as we get into this, if you've got a comment, if you've got, it's great. We love your thumbs up, and we love your thumbs down too. But your thumbs down don't help us if you don't tell us why.
Yeah.
All right. So if I say something or show says something that really triggers you, and you want to give us a thumbs down, please, by all means, do so. But what's more important is that you let us know why. All right, we can't address it. I can't help you, or you can't help us if we don't even know why you're giving us a thumbs down. So do that. And if you give us a thumbs up, it's always good to say why as well. Mm-hmm. It's good affirmation for us to know that you like it, and we get lots of thumbs ups, but we also get some thumbs down, and we really want to know why, right? And maybe we can help others better just because we know how to address something that we didn't address as well, right? Maybe I said something really, really stupid. Who knows? But and I'll go like, well, maybe I could have not said that. But you gotta help us out, right? And that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other.